They are invincible, undeniable, and soon to be 3-time Super Bowl champions. Welcome to the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast, where we talk about our favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. I am Golden Jay, and with me is the man. They call him the Chief. Well, we call him the Chief. Phil Jordan. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everybody. It's been a busy week in the NFL, if you haven't been paying attention.
Like I said last pod, man, I have learned more things along the way this season than I have ever known in the past. My brain is so full of information that it's seeping out of my ears and confusing me.
You got brain diarrhea.
I do have brain diarrhea. The problem is that there's so many rules and regulations on what they can and can't do, and when you drop down to this 53-man roster and then you have to wait 24 and wait for these guys to go through waivers and then you can sign them to your practice squad, and oh my goodness, it's so intense.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Yesterday, I was finishing up work. Well, I wasn't quite finished, and I looked up at the clock, and it said 3:15.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, darn. Let me go to the NFL.com really fast right now, and or KCChiefs.com. I went to both websites to see what happened, because that would be 15 minutes past, because it was 4 Eastern. Because I was like all hyped up on this. I watched quite a few shows, instead of watching the news like I normally did. I was watching, football analysts, and looking at what they were saying about our team, other teams, potential trade candidates, and it just got my blood pumping, saying, man, I know our GM Veach usually pulls a rabbit out of a hat 3 to 4 days after the 53-man roster. So I'm waiting to see what that is.
Well, I don't know what exactly he's got in mind. I know that the 53 set, and as of this recording right now, it looks like our practice squad is looking pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie, man. When I logged in yesterday to look at the 53-man roster, I was shocked at a couple of the moves that they made. The couple of things that I thought were going to happen didn't happen.
Right.
And a couple players got cut that I couldn't believe got cut. Not that, I don't know any better than your average Joe Smo, but I was just surprised at some of the moves they made. But today, those moves got reconciled in my eyes. So, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it right away. I want to talk about the 53-man roster. I want your thoughts on it. And we'll go from there. Sound like a plan?
I don't make plans. I just participate.
No plans being made. No plans being made.
So we got to get this out of the way, though, there, Jeremy.
We got to get it out of the way. All right, let's get it out of the way.
No, the golden egg in the room. We got to get the egg out of the basket here.
It has to be done. It has to be done.
What exactly is that behind you?
That right there. If you can see that, it's right here, right there. See that?
Oh, it's beautiful.
As you can see. Well, I'm just gonna reach back and grab it. Hold on. You pull your box up.
Yep.
I'm just gonna reach out here and grab this real quick. At the golden football, and Phil's got his too right there.
All right, you show one side, I'll show the other. Okay.
All right, there it is, right there. This is our gift from the Kansas City Chiefs for being 2022 season ticket members.
Oh yeah.
I'm a little worried that he's bouncing his around, getting fingerprints all over it.
just on the edges here. I'm being real gentle. and the reason why they sent them out kind of correlates to a previous podcast where we did the history of the Chiefs.
Right.
I know we didn't spend a lot of time on Arrowhead, but the first game was played in Arrowhead in 1972.
Correct.
So these footballs that they sent out to the season ticket holders are commemorating the 50th year of Arrowhead.
Yeah, baby. The big
You know,
5-0.
Yeah, which happens to correlate to my big 5-0 this year.
I know, right?
It's like the 50s presents just don't stop.
No, they just keep coming.
Yeah, it keeps giving and giving. But
Well,
I'll be honest, I was jealous. So Jeremy received his football on Saturday. He was bragging about it at the campground.
I was.
And I'm thinking in my head, well, we're going home Sunday. Surely it's going to be sitting there waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big fat 0.
No.
But happily on Monday, when I came back from the store, sitting out on my porch was one Arrowhead Drive. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
I was DJing a wedding on Saturday night, and I get a picture of the address, the address label, and I'm like, oh. But I actually waited. I waited until Sunday morning. Everybody was up, and we were around. Chico come over. We recorded some spots for the Call Guys and for Golden Image podcast, and then we come inside, and I'm like, okay, we're all here. Let's open this box. And we all three of us, Sarah wasn't here, but all three of us actually opened the box and looked at it together. So it was a moment. It was a beautiful moment.
It's almost like Christmas morning.
It was so much like Christmas morning.
I always look forward to the gifts, as if you go out there and Google, Chiefs gifts, there's some people pretty sour in the Carl Peterson day or Carl.
Yeah, you're right. Carl Peterson.
Yeah. Carl Peterson. There's people out there saying, I never got shit.
Really?
So, kudos to the Chiefs. They've been giving gifts to season ticket members since I've been a member, which is 10 years now. So I'm pretty happy, even though, some of those years they should have used the money for the gifts for talent on the team. but
so true.
Anyway, I it's kind of nice. I never really look around to see what other teams do to help out, to commemorate their season ticket holders. But maybe that's something I'll look around just for giggles. But kudos, to the front offices for continually giving us something for supporting our team by being season ticket members.
I'm just excited that I am a season ticket holder now, and this is my first. Yeah, thank you. This is my first gift from the Chiefs, and to have that box come from Arrowhead Stadium, it's an exciting little moment in your life. So,
oh yeah, I mean, instead of me mailing gifts back for him, he finally got one in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't mind. And I did talk to my mom today, and she's got our Kelsey cereal boxes waiting for us.
I am super excited to get a hold of a couple of those. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I did get one for you, Jeremy, one for Gunner.
Nice. So very nice.
Just in case they sell out. I mean, the Mahomes cereal went so damn fast. I actually had to buy one off of eBay for $10 more than it was worth, but to me it's worth a hell of a lot more than that extra $10. So
right. So what do you say? We stick that in the freezer for half an hour and then it's good to go forever?
I think it's a couple hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I Googled it last time, and it kills any kind of parasite, that might be in the box,
right on.
And it preserves it. So that way there, you don't have to worry about opening the box and emptying it out or anything.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't want to open the box at all. I want it to be sealed forever.
Well, you don't want to try the mighty Kelsey cereal, Breakfast of Champions, I might add.
Are you going to open a box and try it?
I got an extra one.
Okay, I'm coming over. We'll just eat it. We'll just eat it at your house. And then we can leave the boxes open.
I got 4 boxes just for that purpose, because the Mahomes I had to buy off of eBay. So this one, I got an extra box. You know what? We'll do that. I'll bring it out to Well, yeah, I'll bring it out to the campground because I'll have it before you go to the next game.
All right, sounds good.
We'll have Kelsey's Power cereal.
There you go. We'll just sit down and have a beer and some cereal, and it'll be just like an episode of MASH where Hawkeye pours the beer in the cereal.
That's just awesome. I mean, classic. I mean, there's classic, just classic. That's all
just classic.
So anyway, I know we're like jumping way off, where we are, what we're going to talk about, but
it's all good. I do want to make one little note here before we get into the roster. I'm just looking at the camera right now, and I want to shout out to my boy Colton, or as I like to start calling you, Vanilla Thunder. Listen, I don't have a problem with the Bears in general. What I have the problem is that they just seem to be squandering away all the talent that they've had over the years. And if you look at Nagy, which is where this conversation has kind of been, just hitting on, I don't know that Nagy was really ready to be a head coach, but I don't think that he was given a grand opportunity. And I say that because the fans they're loyal, but they're horrific. All they do is bitch and complain about who's on the field. You guys have had great defenses over the years with Urlacher and Mack and all these things, but you can't get a decent quarterback. I mean, you look at the roster over the years with, you guys haven't done anything since Jim McMahon was there. You guys got lucky to go to the Super Bowl in 2006 and then got your asses handed to you by Peyton Manning and the Colts, which is understandable. It's Peyton Manning. But there hasn't been anything relevant in Chicago since 85.
Outside of the defense.
The defense, they can win you games, but they won't win you a championship. You've got to have a full team. You've got to have a team that's going to bring it all together. And they keep rotating coaches. Lovie Smith was probably the most successful coach that they've had.
Yep.
He took them to that Super Bowl. But, what about Dave Wanstead? What about I had a list and I forgot my damn list, and it pisses me off that I forgot it. But you guys have had Eric Kramer and Jay Cutler, and it's just Rick Meyer, for God's sake. You guys went and got Rick Meyer. And you're gonna sit here and yell about Matt Nagy being the head coach and not the man you needed. You've got a long list of coaches that'll never be great coaches. And I hate to say it, but you guys got Pinocchio syndrome. Now, I just made this up. Pinocchio syndrome is that your hopes that you'll have a real team someday.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying maybe Nagy wasn't the head coach that was needed in Chicago to bring him back to life. But I think he got the wrong end of the deal because I don't think he would ever really stood a chance. I think the fans are too fickle, and they've proven that over the years with their quarterbacks. You guys had Testaverde.
Oh my God.
You guys may have had Testaverde. I don't even remember. Trubisky, I think, was a good rounded out quarterback, and he has been named the starter in freaking Pittsburgh this year.
Wouldn't it be awesome if he just rocked it?
Oh my God, that would be the weirdest thing ever. They drafted him before Nagy was there, so you can't blame that one on Nagy. But as soon as he was there, they wanted him in there, and you need to take time and rest these rookies, quarterbacks, let them learn the game. And it's the same thing with head coaches. You can't keep shifting head coaches every few years. Now, I mean, Nagy had 4 years there, which, probably is enough time. If you're going to be able to do it, you're going to be able to get, something going on.
Yeah, I heard one thing about that actually. Listening, a new head coach typically takes 4 to 5 years to turn a team around. The first year, they're going to suck. The second
Yeah.
year, they might get close to 500. The third year, they're a little bit over 500, and they say by the fourth or fifth year, you're in the playoffs and you got your team.
Yeah, you got to give them a chance to build. In Chicago, they don't give them a chance to build. They rotate them in and out so damn quick.
Yeah,
And
and I don't
this,
know how much control they have. You know what I mean?
right.
The McCaskies are, I don't know if they're how involved they are or how hands off they are. I don't know.
Well, that's my problem. I don't know that much about Chicago. What I do know is that when Chicago gets a good player, and it's not just the Bears. You see it do it with the Cubs. You see him do it with the Blackhawks and all the other sports teams in Chicago. It just seems like Chicago gets a good player and then they trade him off for a bunch of draft picks, or we get a bunch of players and we have one good player, but we'll get a bunch of other players. And they just keep they take these Urlachers and these Max and these guys and they work them and they make them superstars, and then they trade them off and to get a bunch of non-superstars. And I don't know, it's just Chicago's always been weird to me as far as their sports teams and why they do that. The only one that really didn't do that, and maybe they have since, is the Bulls during their championship runs, several, which they had many back-to-back with Jordan. They kept that team together and until he retired, and then it just all kind of fell apart. But
I'd say the same about the Blackhawks. They had a good 3 to 5 year run with their players until they went elsewhere.
Right.
So,
but anyway, Nagy may not have been the greatest head coach. I didn't say he was the greatest head coach. I don't even know that he's the greatest coach, for whatever position he was in. I just think he got a raw deal in Chicago. I think he needed a couple more years to try to turn it around. And, it didn't work out. And it is what it is. So that being said, Colton, brother, I love you, man. You know that. We can go back and forth on IMs and podcasts all day long, but we'll get you on the old Indiana Chiefs fans here in the next few weeks, and you can just dole it out all you want. But just remember, it's the Pinocchio syndrome there, Vanilla Thunder. Pinocchio syndrome. Hopefully you'll turn into a real team someday.
We'll make sure to get that pumpkin pie haircutted freak on this podcast.
Do you think you'll get that reference?
I don't know. That's why I threw it in there.
All right.
I want to see if he catches that, being that he does the Fall Guys, right?
The Call Guys.
Fall Guys. Oh, hold on. No. The Fall Guy was who for the Bears?
Matt Nagy.
There you go.
He was the Fall Guy. So here's to you, Colton. I'm drinking to you, buddy. Cheers. I love you, brother. You know that.
That was great.
Oh. All right. So there it is. There's the return from Monday's. You know what? If you did you go watch it? You've got to go watch on YouTube, because Colton looks amazing in a Bears hat. He should wear that hat more often, to be honest. Because he ripped off his headphones, ripped off his hat, threw on, and all due respect to the great Walter Payton. I would, what an amazing athlete, what an amazing person in Chicago community. Gotta love that guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I were a Bears fan, I'd rip off all my gear too. And trust me, we, as a season ticket holder, when we had Castle and oh gosh, speaking of people who shouldn't have been head coaches, see, I've already put them out of my brain.
Todd Haley.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw all my stuff away too, but you know what? I didn't.
I don't remember what season it was. Once again, Kansas City goes into the playoffs, blows it in their first game in the playoff. And I was so pissed because once again, here we are, same old scenario over and over again. You fight all season long. you're a 9-4 team, 10-3, you skip into you just slide underneath the radar to get into the playoffs, and then you lose the first round. Or we fought hard and we end up with a first round bye and lose to the Colts. That was just a standard.
Or Denver.
Or Denver. But I remember after that, like I said, I don't remember what season it was, but I went through and I ripped everything off of my walls and I took everything down.
So back in the day, probably that time period, I would get so pissed, I would just go upstairs and lay down and take a nap. And I would come back downstairs and, to watch whatever game might be on next, for the playoffs. And I can hear the wife whispering to the girls who were, anywhere from 8 to 12 at the time. Don't talk to your dad or piss him off. His team lost. Because I turned into asshole.
I was
pretty much the whole day, the whole night.
I was always pissed until they won the Super Bowl, and then after that, since then, I enjoy watching them, win or lose. I don't care. Well, we've been very fortunate, since Mahomes came in. Which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Matt Nagy was instrumental in actually, drafting Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Anyway, but since we won it, I'm just a lot calmer.
So
because I don't think I have that. I don't have that vision waiting for the win. We work so hard. We're so close. We got a decent team. Maybe this is we're losing. We're done out of second round playoff.
Well, I'll be honest. The Castle years just made me numb to any loss. So I don't care.
Right on.
Yeah, during a game, after a game, the first few minutes, I'm like, damn it, we lost it. And then what's on next? Let's see who's playing. Move on. So.
But like I said, we've been very fortunate the last few years. Is our win to loss ratio was way lopsided. We definitely won more than we've lost, and we've lost some key games. Cincinnati, New England, both those AFC Championship games. I mean, we could have been to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row.
Yeah, no, they were actually talking about that on talk radio the other day, which brings me to another point that I forgot to mention early on when we were briefing before the podcast. So NFL.com, I think, ranked Patrick at number 4 overall in the top 100.
Okay.
And Kelsey at 10.
Okay.
ESPN, on the other hand, ranked Patrick number 1.
And so what about Kelsey?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I got interrupted. It just sticks in my head. But I'm going with ESPN on that one. He's got, this leads into the 53-man roster. He's got new guys to play with, to get familiar with. There was a throw to Juju, in the preseason game that where he thought he was going to go long. Juju cut it short, which would have been an instant touchdown,
Right.
So once they work out some of those kinks with the new guys and those who got to get on the 53-man roster, I mean, I think, game 2 or 3, I hope, at the latest, they're in, on the same page from every position. I do not want another slow start. I don't want a 1-4 start again.
Right.
That was horrible last year.
It was, but they turned it around, which is what they do. They, this particular team, you said it right now, they've got to get their chemistry together. And, the practices and all that stuff is what it's all about. And you've seen it in the first 2 preseason games, them actually going out there and just working well together, slicing through those defenses.
Yep.
And Washington, and I mentioned this earlier, Washington's a damn good defense.
Yep.
They've got some really good superstars on that. I mean, Chase Young wasn't playing that game, but the first string defense for Washington is something that Washington should be proud of.
Agreed.
But Kansas City, our starters, 2 series, 2 touchdowns.
And I might add that, playing against the Bears, we did the same thing. Anyway.
Oh, wait, no, now that doesn't count because that was a That was an ass whooping that Chicago handed to us, and we should be humiliated. And I can't remember what all that said, but
yeah, I know. Once our third and fourth stringers are in, they finally scored. But I'm just throwing that out there for your buddy.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but so I did have Gunner cut my rant from that particular episode because it was a little over the top, and it wasn't, like I said, I don't have a problem with the Chicago organization. I have my opinions on how they deal with things as far as their players and all that stuff, but that's their team, that's their way to go. So I like Chicago. I always root for Chicago. I don't root for the Colts. Sorry. No offense. No offense to all the Colts fans. I don't root for the Colts. Not gonna happen. I'll root for Detroit. I'll root for Detroit like a madman, but that's just that just seems like wasted energy, I think, most of the time.
Or rooting for Cleveland.
That dumpster fire of a the homeless guy did actually set that fire, from what I hear.
Oh my god.
He was trying to keep warm over there in Cleveland. Oh, by the way, speaking of Chico is actually in Pennsylvania. He is going to stop in Cleveland and pick the homeless guy up and drop him off at Colton's.
Oh, that's priceless.
So Colton, you're getting a new roommate, buddy. I just let you know it's a homeless guy. Where's the number 6? I don't even know.
Which oddly enough is how many defensive backs we have.
There you go. All right, let's get into this 53-man roster. All right,
defensive end. I mean, sorry about that.
Defensive. Yeah, let's get into this. Enough of picking on Colton for tonight. Like I said, love you, brother. You know that. So let's talk about this. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Obviously, painfully obvious. Patrick Mahomes is our number 1. They kept 3 this year.
I saw that.
How many did they keep last year? Do you have any idea?
I think they had.
I heard it was only 2.
I think they had 2, but they had a decent backup on the practice squad.
Was that was Matt Moore, right? Matt Moore was on the practice squad?
No, that was the year we went to the Super Bowl and when they pulled Matt Moore out of a high school football coach.
He's a PE teacher or something weird like that one. No, I thought that Matt was actually still on the practice squad for last year. I thought he was
might
still
have been
a team member.
I'd have to look, but yeah, normally we only keep 2 active. I'm kind of surprised that they have 3, active, but they must see something in Shane that.
Shane Buechele, he played well against Green Bay.
He did.
He had a couple touchdowns. He worked very well.
And don't get me wrong, what goes through my brain. So on a practice squad, I still think you can get someone off someone's practice squad if you offer them sorry. Wow,
that would come out of nowhere.
I think if you offer them a contract, right?
There's some there. Yeah,
I think there's some caveat.
Yeah, there is. There is. So
my gut, and this is just my gut. I'm going out here on a huge limb that might just break and fall on me and break my ankle, but he might be on the life squad for leverage.
Well, and that's kind of what the rumor mill was. Is they actually last year he was on the practice squad. And they thought maybe that this year, because somebody tried to poach him last year off the practice squad, and they thought maybe if they put him on the active or the 53 man, that nobody's going to swipe him up. So
they can, but they're going to have to give something for him.
Well, yeah, exactly. But so we're holding 3 quarterbacks. Mahomes, Chad Henne is our number 2, and then Shane Buechele is our number 3. So we're also carrying 5 running backs. But number 5 is actually Michael Burton, which is our fullback. So they just consider him as part of the running back crew. So they're the big surprise, the big, huge surprise. Are you looking at this? You have it up in front of you?
I have it up in front of me.
What's the big surprise on this running back list?
That Pacheco's not number 2. I think you're going after Ronald Jones.
I am going after Ronald Jones.
I know.
So,
I'm just messing with you.
I know you are. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, number 1, Jerick McKinnon, number 2, the Pikachu himself, because he's electric. That's right. We call him Pikachu because he's electric. Isaiah Pachenko, and number 4 is Ronald Jones Jr. I honestly,
You
yeah,
must have just got the same thing I got.
Yeah.
The Facebook
I know
pop up.
what it is. It just took me by surprise.
I know.
I can't believe that he made the roster. Honestly, I didn't think that was going to be a thing.
Like I said, that's why we're not coaches.
Exactly. Well, he played extremely well during against Green Bay. He actually looked pretty well. I mean, obviously he's playing against third and fourth string defenses, but he actually looked really good in that Green Bay game. He was up in his average 4 or 5 yards per carry. Yak.
Yeah.
Yakety
yak.
I guess it won't be yak, will it? It's not yards after run after the yarn.
Oh, yeah. Well, unless they throw him a pass, of course, right?
Yeah. But he looked pretty well. He looked pretty decent. So maybe that's what they saw in him. And he's kept him around for a reason. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there you go. And then, of course, Michael Burton, the fullback, is the number 5 running back, who will also be probably the number 5 tight end, because Burton can pretty much kind of transition between the two. So we're carrying 4 tight ends.
Yep. That's kind of surprising to me too. So,
well, that was the tricky part, because, we had several tight ends. And, were they going to keep 4? Were they going to keep 5? That was kind of if they only ran 2 quarterbacks, they could have an extra tight end. There was all that. It makes my brain hurt just thinking about it.
Well, I hope they do a lot of, double tight end sets then,
Well, but look so Travis Kelce's number 1. Number 2 is Blake Bell. But Bell is out. He is on injured reserve. So that's going to trade up some of they put him on there. They can put him back down on injured reserve, and then they can bring up somebody from the practice squad and sign him to the 53, and then add. It's so confusing how all that works. But
yeah, if he's on IR at the beginning of, I think actually maybe next week, they can't come back till week 4, I believe.
Right on.
Give or take.
So
he's on at least 4 weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, Bell, Noah Gray, and my personal favorite, Jody Forson. I really like that guy. I think he's gonna be a monster, and he's gonna be a nice offset for Travis Kelce.
They look good. Really,
they do. All right, so we move on. We're holding 5 wide receivers. McCole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. How do you like that? Or MVS, Sky Moore, and the man, Justin Watson. I think Justin Watson's going to have a really good year. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do.
Him and Sky Moore, I think the more and more they play with Patrick in the offense, especially Sky, coming off a college team.
Right.
I can see him like mid-season just tearing it up, I hope.
Yep. Yeah, he needs a few games to kind of get under his belt. Don't expect too much from him right off the bat, because he's going to need that experience in the speed of the NFL.
Yep.
Before he becomes what we believe he's going to become. So give him a minute. They'll get him going. And yeah, but Justin Watson, man, coming right out the gate is just looking amazing. So
yeah.
A solid wide receiver crew, even minus Tyreek Hill. So I don't have no problem. Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about Tyreek anymore. He's talking too much BS.
Tyreek is gone, and we're over it. So I can be okay with that. But yeah, okay. So that's our 5 wide receivers. Offensive line, Orlando Brown Jr., Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey.
Which, by the way, Creed is still waiting for his invite from Creed to sing with them.
To go sing with them.
Yeah. Fun fact, in case you didn't know that.
Can he sing?
I think it was either Creed made a song about him, kind of fun, goofy song, I think.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
I'll have to Google it again and ship it your way.
Right on. So yeah, Creed Humphreys, Trey Smith, Andrew Wiley. And then you get into kind of the second string with Gerard Christian, Nick Alagente, and Darren Kennard, and the Prince.
Yeah, I mean, just the name.
Can you say it?
Prince Tega Wangoho.
One. Oh, you had me until you said something. I should have just went Wagahu.
I was close.
Yeah.
Close enough. I was closer than your Pikachu.
He's electric.
Oh, I like the name, man.
Yeah.
Prince.
I've been thinking about all this stuff, you know. I'll have to come up with something for Prince W there. We're gonna keep 4 defensive tackles: Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Treshawn Wharton, and Kalen Saunders.
I don't know much about the last two, so
I don't either, but I know that number 1 is a bad mamma jamma.
Yeah. I just didn't do research on it.
Yeah. So we're taking 6 defensive ends. We're keeping those in Frank Clark, Curious George Kaloftis. I did not get that right. Yeah. Carlos Dunlap, Dana, Joshua Kadu, and McKeek Herring. Any thought process on that?
Dude, Frank Clark and George Karloff.
Curious George or Furious George.
See,
we're gonna
you
call
just
him Furious
messed
George.
me up.
I know, right?
I was good with his name till right then, but man, those two coming off the each side.
That's havoc, boys. That's havoc being reaped right there.
I would hate, and you got Noddy in the middle. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think this defense is, built to be a decent, and I'll just say starting off middle of the road defense. Hopefully mid-season again, if we can get in the top 15 defenses, I would be ecstatic.
Once again, and I'll emphasize what I've talked about in the past podcast. I don't need number 1 defense and number 1 offense. I just need a solid, balanced team.
Like I said, I'll take middle of the road.
Yeah.
Which is, 15 spots higher than we were,
last year.
or the year before, for that matter.
That is true. That is true.
I'll take a middle of the road, that plays consistent. We'll give up a big play here and there. My biggest fear, and we haven't even got there yet, is the secondary. So
yeah, well, let's talk about some linebackers. Looks like we're going to hold 4 linebackers in Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Leo Chanel, and Darius Harris. Once again, solid linebacker core. I mean, I know 2 of those guys from last year, and they were monsters. I think Leo's going to, once again, a lot like what we talked about with Sky Moore. Once he gets a few games under his belt, he's going to just be a monster. I think he's going to be a great linebacker for us. So
I agree.
Okay, here we go. So we got 6 corners: L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, Rashad Fenton, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, and Chris Lamons. What are your thoughts on those guys?
Don't know Chris at all. I'll be honest. L'Jarius Sneed looks solid in the here comes the Silver Fox.
Oh dear Lord.
L'Jarius Sneed looked solid in preseason, but I still keep thinking about last year. So Trent McDuffie, I think, is decent. Rashad Fenton, I think, is decent. So
well, let me run this by you with Trent McDuffie real quick. Now, he was the number 1 pick this year in the draft. And he really hasn't been challenged this year because nobody's throwing at him.
I know that was kind of weird. No one did that this year.
But he's already out. He's already out on concussion protocol. Is that gonna play into how he is gonna play for the rest of the season? Or
I don't think so.
No?
I think it was a fluke from the play.
I hope so. I really do, because I want to actually see him defend some passes. To be honest, I'd like to see some people throw at him. Let's see what he can do.
Like I said, I'm good with McDuffie. It's Snead is the one guy I know he's improved. I just want to, I need to see him in a real game.
It's 50-50 for me with Snead. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you watch it and he's, amazing. And sometimes he's standing there with his thumb in his bum and you're wondering what the hell just fucking happened.
How'd that guy get 20 yards behind you, And
Yeah, exactly.
And where the hell's the safety,
Yeah.
So it's kind of a tandem, but I hope, he's listed number one here. So,
Yep.
there's a reason for that. So
and as far as Chris Lammons go, I haven't really watched anything on him too serious.
That's why I said I don't know anything really, to be honest.
But I don't know that he's once again, I don't know that we're going to throw him out there as some elite player and he's some great player, but I heard he's not too bad and he's going to be able to hold his own pretty well out there. So we'll definitely be looking at watching him in week number 1 just to see.
Yeah.
Looks like we're going to hold 4 safeties in Juan Thornhill, Justin Reed, Brian Cook, and Dion Bush. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what you got to say about that, but that is a solid safety. I mean, that's solid. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Juan Thornhill. So Justin Reed, I mean, they're solid, man.
and Brian Cook, I know, is a rookie this year, but he
looked good.
Yeah, he did. Dion Bush the same way. I don't know that he's a rookie. I think he's been there a couple years, but he's he's learning well and getting in the game going on. And of course, then we have the 3 specialists in Harrison Butker as our kicker, Tommy Townsend as our punter, and James Winchester as our long snapper. So
hold on, you left out one of our punters or kickers,
Justin Reed.
Well, what did he get? That 64-yarder and
Harrison Butker?
No. Our defensive guy.
Justin Reed. Justin Reed. Yeah.
So there should be a little asterisk right there.
The specialist Justin Reed. Yeah. As of Tuesday, that was our 53-man roster, and we're pretty excited about. I'm pretty excited about that. So as of today, we've pretty much set up our practice squad, and it looks to me like everybody pretty much did it today. I don't know. Is that something that they have to be done by a certain time today?
Yeah, because otherwise people can claim them.
Oh, right on. So it looks like
anyone that's not on the practice squad who got cut is fair game.
And that's that whole waivers thing too. I don't know that I necessarily understand the whole waivers. They have to clear waivers and all that.
It goes on, kind of like the draft, right?
Okay.
If we're way down the waiver wire, based on our last year's,
where we finished. We finished in the AFC Championship game, so we were like in the 30s or something.
Yeah. So our waiver wire, all the good players. But I think and I'm hypothesizing. Let's just say we're Tampa because we suck, and we came in last place this year. Just throw that out there.
Fun. There you go. Like that's going to happen.
By the way, they do have the oldest roster in the NFL.
Tampa Bay does.
Yes.
And we have one of the top 10 youngest rosters. Yes,
that is correct. But my understanding is, let's just say some player came off of whatever, he's the number 1 player and everybody wants him. Tampa Bay picks him up, right?
Right.
They're number 1 on the waiver wire. Well, then they go from number 1 to the bottom, is my understanding. So they can't just poach players left and right.
Oh, gotcha.
So it goes down the list until.
Whoever was number 2, which would have been Jacksonville, or Cleveland.
And then let's just say no one claims them and the Chiefs won them. At that point, they could say, "Yeah, we won them," and then we move to the bottom of the list. Is my understanding of it.
So you can pass even if you're number 1, you can pass on that player.
Oh yeah,
and keep number 1.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. And again, I don't Google stuff on this podcast. I go off of what I know, what I've heard. So
right. That's why it's an opinionated podcast.
Yeah, we always throw that out there for all, one day this is going to get a comment and said, well, so-and-so said this. I'm going to go say, listen to this podcast at 22 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. When I say, so we signed our practice squad, which includes safety Zane Anderson, guard Mike Calido, linebacker Jack, I'm sorry, Cochran, running back Jermaine Alley, wide receiver. This is the one that surprised me that we cut. We didn't, maybe that was because we kept the third quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Dearius Fountain, we cut him from the 53-man roster, so he's on the practice squad, which is good for us because then we can bring him up if we, something happens and we need him.
I agree.
Tight end Jordan Franks, cornerback Nazeed Johnson, defensive end Azure Kamira, linebacker Elijah Lee. We picked up quarterback Chris Oldican. Ever hear of him?
No,
me neither. So here's the other wide receiver that that was kind of the juggling. Cornell Powell. That was the other one who I was like, wait, what? We go ahead and slice both of these. We didn't keep one of them as our sixth wide receiver, but he's on the practice squad. Center Austin Riddy, defensive tackle Danny Shelton. Now, didn't we just pick up Danny Shelton along the way here somewhere? Not just a few weeks ago.
Dude, so much is going on. I'd have to Google it, and I'm not going to do it.
And defensive tackle Taylor Stallworth. So
Taylor
it's not Taylor Swift.
Hey, come on. I got to throw in a joke here and there.
Oh, my God. Taylor Swift. We don't talk about her.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
We're getting two people at the same time.
Is he drunk? Is he drunk?
Well, he's connecting. He's connecting audio.
He's been drinking. Oh, look at there.
Turn on
it is
lights.
The Chico Noy boy. He looks like he might have had a beard too.
Turn some lights on.
I know. I need some lights. It's really dark.
Yeah, you look like you're just in a vampire mode or something.
Vampire mode.
He's in his Twilight mode. Watch out. What's up, Chico? We just got done running through the 53-man roster and the 14-man practice squad.
Nice.
I did tell Colton, my thoughts and feelings on the
Mr. Nagy.
Yeah.
Did you say suck it?
I did not say suck it, but Colton, suck it.
That's right.
And now we got the Silver Fox. What's up, Daryl?
Not much, and you?
Oh man, just enjoying my. Did you see our footballs that we got for being season ticket holders this year?
Yes, I saw that.
Isn't
Do you like it?
I do. I like that a lot. I'm pretty excited about it.
How much do you like it?
Not that much.
$20?
Oh, I like it way more than that.
30?
Oh, way more than that.
10,000.
How about your house in Texas?
My house in Texas. The outhouse or which house?
Probably
just the outhouse. Just the outhouse.
Yeah, just the outhouse, right?
So,
what can I tell you?
Daryl, you have been you are a long time Kansas City Chiefs fan. We were discussing what was it last weekend or in the past. I know we've sat down and talked about it more than once. You were actually part of the Chiefs early on. Is that correct? When they were still at municipal? Oh my God.
Municipal Stadium at 18th and Brooklyn, Kansas City.
Yeah, there you go. See,
right.
So tell me a little bit about that time.
Well, let's see. They came in 1963, and what happened is that all of a sudden Kansas City has a football team. No one ever heard of them. Nobody knew much about them, but most people like football. But at any rate, to do some promotions, I got to see my first game on a basic thing called the grocery store bowl. Okay. A company called Milgram's. All right. Which was at the time, the number one grocery store in the area. What they did was they did a promotion during preseason. And if you bought X amount of loaves of bread, they'd give you a ticket. So that's how I got to see my first Chiefs game. And that would have been in the fall of 1963.
Nice. Now, is it true you worked the chains for some of those games? Did I hear that?
No, I worked for the Chiefs in security from the time I was 16 until I was about 22 years old. All of those years were done at the old municipal stadium, except for the first year at Arrowhead. And then the following year, I moved to California.
Right on. Right on. So did you ever meet the great Lynn Dawson back in those days?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You,
Yeah, we all did.
You have a favorite story with Lynn?
No, not really. You know, when we saw Lynn, okay, it was like, "Hi, Lynn, how are you?" It's kind of like coming up. It's kind of like coming up the ramp, okay, you know, and saying, Clark Hunt. You know, what can I tell you?
Right.
But no, we met a few of the players here and there, had some conversations. You know, they were polite and this type of thing. But I do have a claim to fame.
Okay.
The longest game ever played at Municipal Stadium, or the longest game ever played in the National Football League or American Football League. That was the Miami Dolphins in a playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And because of a penalty, what happened is, you can see this actually on YouTube. But because of a penalty, okay, Garo Yepremian was allowed to try to kick a field goal to win the game. All right, and this is the year after the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Okay, second time. And so they put Ed Podolak, okay, and Morris Stroud, which were the two tallest players on the team, up against the goalpost. Now, before this penalty, we thought the game was over, so we surrounded the field like we did at every home game, to keep the fans from coming on the game. So that means I'm in the back of the end zone. All right. And they said, "Hey, turn around, Daryl, take a look. They're still playing." Okay. And wow, okay, they're going to kick a field goal. And there's Ed Podolak, and Morris Stroud. And, at the goalpost. Well, the thought was, if it was a little short, they might be able to knock it down, that type of thing. But at any rate, of course, history, he kicked the ball through and scored the, field goal, won the game. The Chiefs weren't in the playoffs. But at any rate, make a long story short, as the ball bounced around the back of the end zone, okay, back towards the fence, I picked it up, okay, and it was taken from me by the officials and given to Garo Yepremian. But at any rate, if you ever want to look at the video, there's that 19-year-old kid, I think it's 19 or 20, there in the end zone in a red jacket. That was me.
Oh, right on.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun.
And by chance, did you you just ran across that on YouTube? Then you were like looking it up and it was like, "Oh, holy shit, there I am."
No, I told the story to someone. They looked it up on YouTube and sent me an email and showed it to me.
No kidding.
Yeah, Garo Yepremian kicks field goal to beat Chiefs. You can actually do that. If you look there, you'll see me in the back, in my little red jacket. I'm about 6 foot tall, brownish blonde hair. Can't miss me.
Nice.
I'm gonna search it right now so I can watch it later.
There you go.
Well, when you find it, link it to me, would you, so I can watch it later too.
I will. Yeah.
I'll laugh at it. Point.
But at any rate, we were fans in seeing during the first Super Bowl. I was in high school. And I remember that game very well. I was 13 years old and the score was 35-10 and I cried.
Yeah.
But when they played in the fourth Super Bowl, it was pretty exciting. Just as almost exciting as the last one.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to think back to all that stuff. I got so much information in my head from all the stuff I've been studying with the preseason and the 53-man roster. I'm drawing blanks on all my old history stuff, so you have to forgive me.
Well, here's something, okay, that the news people didn't pick up on the other day. All right, the choir huddle. You saw that the other day, correct?
Yep.
All right.
I sure did.
And they called it the choir huddle. And that was kind of a Chiefs trademark from the time they started in Kansas City going forward. And that continued pretty well through Hank Stram. All right. Then after Hank Stram, that pretty well went away. But I don't know if you remember, but Vince Lombardi, who hated the AFL. Are you aware of that?
No, I did not know that.
Okay. Well, you can look up some of his things. After the first Super Bowl, he said that the American Football League didn't belong in football. Okay, that the real football league is the National Football League.
Right.
But he made a off-comment remark about the choir, okay, huddle, and say, "That's not real football. Those are children playing." Yeah, Vince Lombardi was not a big supporter of the NFL, the merger in the NFL.
Right.
And that's all history, and you can look it up. He was very adamant. and he thought the upstart league was not worth the time of day. And he tried to prove it, and he almost proved it, games 1 and games 2. But then, of course, the Jets and Chiefs came back, and that was history was made.
Right.
Long before your time.
Well, just a little bit. I mean, just let's see, it's maybe 10 years before
10
me.
years, yeah, 10 on the nose.
Gunner, maybe a lot more, but
Maybe 20, 30, 35.
Yeah, let's put it this way here, okay? I was drinking beer during the Super Bowl, all right? So that's way before your time.
Oh yeah, the good old days. I actually had a question, but I think I answered it. But I'll ask you because so we played the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 4. Who was the quarterback for the Vikings at that time?
Kemp.
Did Fran Tarkenton come in?
I think it was
Al-
Jack Kemp. Wasn't it Jack Kemp or Al Kemp?
I know it wasn't Tarkenton. I kept thinking it was Tarkenton,
Yeah.
and it was
No.
I was wrong,
No,
but
Kemp.
right on. But do you know when Fran come in after that? I mean, how much longer after that? Because he's still.
I have
mean,
no idea.
You're still looking at a 70s quarterback in Fran Tarkenton, right?
Yeah. Our nemesis, okay, went from the Oakland Raiders to the Miami Dolphins over the next 4 or 5 years. And then, of course, we had the drought days from that point forward until Marty Schottenheimer and then Joe Montana.
Right.
And until those points of times, okay, it was kind of difficult, which, by the way, I don't know if you knew it or not, but I lived in St. Louis for a while, and we commuted from St. Louis to Kansas City for all the games.
Okay.
And that was when your friend Phil got to go to his first games.
Oh,
Because we went in the RV, and
nice.
we got to watch Joe Montana play, for the Chiefs, and so that was a lot of fun.
I was in Kansas City when San Francisco came to KC, and I couldn't afford scalp tickets to get in, so I actually watched it from the mall down the road. That'll take you around.
Yeah. So but it's a great time. I've been my team since I was 12 years old. Okay. Because that's the only team that I ever knew. I lived in Los Angeles. I had Raiders season tickets when they were in Los Angeles, and one of the games I went to was obviously a Chiefs game. All right. When I was there. And one of the persons said, Daryl, you're not rooting for the Raiders. And I said, how can I root for the Raiders when the Chiefs are here?
Right. Exactly. Hello.
And I says, now when they're not here, I kind of root for them unless they're in contention. Since they're never in contention, it's never an issue.
Well, there was only one time that I actually ever rooted for the Raiders, and that was the year they went to the Super Bowl and Rich Gannon was the quarterback. He had just left Kansas City. He was a really solid backup for us, and I really liked him. I couldn't believe we let him go over in keeping Elvis Gerbach. But that was the only time I ever rooted for the Raiders, is when they were in the Super Bowl and Rich Gannon was quarterback.
Yeah, well, for some reason or other, okay, Lamar Hunt must have had some sort of thing going with the San Francisco 49ers. Because every time the season would start, okay, I would say, oh, my God, they traded for another one of the backups. And then when that wasn't good enough, then we started picking on the New England Patriots and got their backups.
Yeah. And then we went back to San Francisco
and got some more of them. And all the retreads in between. And it's kind of nice this season here is because Denver Broncos, okay, are following the same pattern, which, to my opinion, is a very, very losing proposition.
Right.
Yeah, so they went to Montana, then they tried to do something in between, get a franchise quarterback, and now they got Russell, okay, who's on the back end of his career.
We've talked about that as far as Russell Wilson. I truly believe that he's still got something, but unless you put players around him, no matter how you fuel that tank, there's just not going to be enough gas to get them to where they need to go.
I don't care who you are. You play quarterback at 36 years old, you ain't running away.
And that's true. But I mean, if he's got nobody to throw to and nobody that can run the ball for him, he's basically just there picking up a paycheck.
Yeah, well, he hasn't done that well the past few years anyway in Seattle, in my opinion. Otherwise, they wouldn't let him go.
That's true. That is very, very true. But, you know, I like Russell Wilson. That's the problem. I mean, I've always liked him when he was in Seattle. I like him a little less now he's in Denver, but, you know, that's only because I don't like Denver.
Well, it's not a matter of liking anybody. I don't dislike anybody in the National Football League, except for maybe Dick Buckus at one time. But, you know, but, you know, for the most part, I like all of them. Okay. But the problem of it is when it's game time, I don't like any of them unless they play for the Chiefs.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. When it comes to it comes game time, it's all about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right. After the game, we can all say, hey, let's have a cocktail, Dick, you know, or Russell, you know, come on over to the house, have some hors d'oeuvres and this, that, and the other. But before the game, get the hell out of my house.
Yeah, you're not allowed. Yeah, you're not allowed in.
Right.
Oh, any other cool history pieces you got for us there?
No, not at all. You know, let's see. Let's hope that, you know, before the old Grim Reaper decides to show up, you know, we get another, you know, silver trophies in the case. That would be
Yes.
nice. And, you know, it's, I watch everything that's cyclical. All right. And so I kind of, you know, because there's nobody else to look to, I kind of look at the Patriots, you know, underneath Tom Brady and how they had their on years, okay, and their off years, and how they lost a game or two by little or nothing and didn't return. But over a 10, 12-year period, which is pretty well how long we expect Mahomes to be a franchise quarterback,
Right.
you know, they cleaned up. So I think we got a lot more to coming and a lot more to go.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I'm not gonna lie. I worry that we are going to be the next Seattle Seahawks, where we did back-to-back Super Bowls, where you win one, lose one, and then just things just fall apart. But I have not been an excited for the season as I am this year. I think that Beach went out and got the talent and is putting together a solid defense. And of course, we still have a solid offense, even though, you know, we've lost pieces along the way. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to be really tough this year.
Yeah. Well, so is the entire West. But
Right.
see, one thing that a lot of people don't look at, especially with New England Patriots, look at their division the past 10 years. Look at
Right.
the win-loss record in their division. I mean, they get six games right off the bat, okay, as a freebie before they have to win a game.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So, and you know, in our division, historically, has always been a tough one. So, see, I'm still of the firm belief, okay, and I hopefully before I die, they make the rule change. All right, that they take the top teams in every league, screw the divisions. That's my
right
opinion. Okay, so if you win 11 games, okay, and you're not in the playoffs, okay, and there's a person in the playoffs with 8 games, that's not fair football.
I agree. I agree with you. Just
and
because
that's happened last year.
Yeah, well, didn't we have like at one point a team that actually had a losing record that went to the playoffs one year?
Yeah, and that was because the division was so poor.
Right.
Okay. And you know, so you know, if you win 8 games in one division, you get to go to the playoffs. And I don't think that's fair to the players. I don't think that's fair to the fans.
I agree. I agree with you, because even if you're the AFC West and the top 3 teams are all, you know, over 11 wins or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they should all get to go.
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, okay, you know what? You still win your division, but you know what? You're not in the playoffs. Sorry, Charlie.
Here's your banner for winning your division. Now go home.
Yeah. So you know, that's the only thing that I would like to see, you know, changed. You know, other than fact, you know, I don't know how all these football players like Lynn Dawson lived to be 87 years old and play till he's 37. Am I correct? And play all those years, okay, and under smash mouth football, take all those hits and everything else and survive. And now, okay, we got to change the rules because someone got a bruise. You know, oh no, the mommy said I got a bruise.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it's football, guys.
It very much is. You know what you signed up for when you went out there.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about it.
All right. Well, let me before we get off here and hand this back over to Phil, I want your predictions for the season, Kansas City style. What do you think our record's going to be?
17 games this year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
I think we're going to win 12, but I still think we're going to be a wild card team.
Okay. How many yards is Patrick Mahomes going to put up through the air this year?
Oh gosh. Well, he's doing short yardage now. So the average pass is going to be what, 10, 15 yards this year on a good day.
I would say probably, yeah.
Yeah. And long ones are going to be in the 25, 30 yard range, depending on, the run back. But, after catch yards. But I would sit there and say that, probably about 4,200, 4,300.
Right on. Right on. How many touchdowns is he going to throw this year?
37.
37. All right. Now I'm going to stretch you out. Travis Kelce holds the record for consecutive games over 1,000 yards. Will Travis do it again this year? And how many yards will he have?
If he makes 1,000 yards, it'll be about 1,002.
Right over.
I don't disagree with you. I think he'll break 1,000, but I'm thinking 1,050, honestly, for myself.
Well, the reason for it is that, everyone has to face some reality. Okay. There's a breaking point to everything. And what happens is that they also have new talent. Okay. In the receiver courts and the tight ends. Yep. And part of that is, okay, what we need to do is we need to save, key players, okay, for key downs. All right. And, let's let everybody else do the bread and butter plays. Well, when you do that, now you're starting to take away from Kelce, because now you got 4 or 5 receivers that seem to be able to catch the ball and get away to catch the ball, as compared to basically 2 last year,
Right.
And, Kelce and Hill. So, because, other people weren't doing that well. I mean, Pringle did okay, Gordon obviously didn't. But, so he's going to spread the ball around more. So Travis is not going to get the ball as often.
Right.
And the other thing that Travis is very, very good at is blocking. Okay.
Yes.
And, the clock keeps ticking,
Yeah.
And so they'll use him less. And so he'll get less yardage.
Right on. I can totally agree. I can totally get behind that theory right there. I agree with you 100%. By adding Juju and MVS and all those guys that are going to be able to catch the ball and, like you said, 15, 20 yards, plus an additional 10, 15 after the catch, they're going to spread it out quite a bit. Yeah. Travis, I hope he gets 1,000. I hope he can kind of keep his streak going. But if he doesn't, I don't think it's the end of the world.
No. What matters is that we win.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't take 2 people to win. It takes a team to win. So.
Yep. Very much so. And we've proven that last year when we just had the 2 that were out there running around and everybody was guarding and blocking.
Well, that's true. And, they're still going to be after Kelce. Okay. Because he's, 60 some odd percent, I forgot what the number was, but, they're still going to be doing him, which is going to open up other people.
Right.
And, and Hill's gone. Okay. So they're not going to be covering Hill, but they've got a whole bunch of other people to cover. And from looking at preseason, okay, it looks like we're going to be running about a 70% pass offense.
Right. Yeah. What is your view on our running back core since we talked about, 70% in the air? You've watched it, Allaire, Pachenko, McKinnon, and Ronald Jones Jr. as now our starting running backs. What do you think of that group of guys?
Well, first off, in preseason, okay, only the first quarter makes any sense to me.
Right.
The rest of it, okay, I can't gauge anything. All right, I'm not talented enough to gauge that. That's what coaches do. They put all the second, third, and fourths out there. Okay. In the first quarter of all, the 2 games where the starters played, the running game didn't exist.
Yep.
Okay. And I think there was one run, and I'm not even sure who it was. It was for like 11 or 12 yards. But other than that, everyone stopped at the line of scrimmage. Okay. Yeah. Either we got starters that don't know how to run, or we got linemen that don't know how to block. It's one or the other. But those were the starters that were out there in the first quarter, those first 2 games. And basically they just went to the pass game.
Right.
And, they were picking up, 2 yards here, 3 yards here, and so on and so forth. There was no one doing breakout runs. Okay. and no one's going around the end. They were running everything up the middle. Why? I don't know. Maybe they were practicing. I have no clue. But so as far as the run game, I don't see anybody really shining right now. I suppose that'll happen later.
Well, it'll be interesting to see that for sure. So do you think, and of course it's preseason and I get that, do you think Andy Reid stays vanilla during preseason, not to show his hand for what he's got coming in the regular season? And maybe that's why the run game didn't look as good with the starters? Or do you think that, is it just that our running back core is just not really that great?
Well, I mean, all the coaches play chess in preseason. Okay. I mean, all 32 teams do that. And, they're not going to show everything. But then on the other hand, some of the running backs and some of the other preseason games with starters out, we're doing much better even against our defense. All right.
Right.
And what happens is that, there's only so many trick plays in a book, okay,
Right.
that you can come up with. And, you got 17 games, okay, so you can't rely on trick plays, okay, to get you to the end at the end of the year. So, basically, to be honest with you, as I said before, either line's not blocking, okay, or they're not running, okay, or they don't know how to cut or whatever, or they're scared or whatever. That's in preseason. Now, when the game's on the line, then that's a different story.
Right.
Because I mean, what are they giving preseason? 70%, maybe, especially the veterans.
Right.
And the other players, okay, they're giving 110%, okay, but their knowledge base is about 40%. So, you don't really get a good idea.
Right. Right.
All you get there is heart.
Yep. Well, and that's why we have preseason, so we get a chance to see some of these players and kind of gauge them. And like you said, those coaches are way smarter than we are. They know what they're looking for in these preseason games and how to gauge it out a little bit better than us armchair quarterbacks, who just sit in the stands and eat popcorn and piss and moan about the shit that they do. But that's why they make the big money.
I'll tell you one thing though, as far as the backup for Mahomes goes, I'm glad that they put that Cajun kid in there. I can't remember his last name because I can't pronounce it. They kept him on the roster.
Bouchel. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of the movie The Water Boy. Okay, but I just can't help it. But at any rate, I mean, his poise is like Patrick Mahomes, which is kind of interesting in my opinion. So,
and I think that is probably why they went ahead and kept 3 quarterbacks. Andy has this thing with veterans, Chad Henne. He's always had a veteran backup, whether it be Henne or Moore or Nick Foles or all these different ones he's had over the years. But he has this certain thing about those veterans. So I think that's why Henne is still there. But I think there's something in Bouchel that I think is going to probably keep him on that Kansas City roster for a couple more years to come. So
either that or, put him in the situation we were in with San Francisco doing all their second string quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And he may be good trade fodder in the future too.
Well, that is very true too. Yeah, very much so. I know that there was talks that if they went ahead and cut him from the 53, that a lot of people thought maybe he gets scooped up real quick, and they definitely wanted to keep him in Kansas City.
Yeah, well, they tried to scoop him off the practice squad last year.
Yes.
And they had to lock him down.
Yeah, what was it? Was it Detroit, or do you remember who it was that was trying to get him?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But all I know is there were several teams that were trying to pick him up, and and the Chiefs locked him down.
Right.
And so any rate, so he's something to watch for the future if something else goes wrong.
Yeah, it's something we can feel good about if something would actually happen to Patrick.
So, who knows? The water boy may make good.
Boy.
Water's battle.
Yeah, all we got to do is figure out how to get Forrest Gump in the backfield, right?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Damn, that's the truth. All right, Daryl, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. You don't even know. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much. And
All right,
it's so,
have a great day.
so good to see you again.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. All right, so yeah, Phil's back with us now here. Daryl Jordan has left. That was I'm not gonna lie, Phil. That was pretty great.
Well,
That was a pretty great interview.
I did not listen, so I will and look forward to this being posted so I can hear what he had to say.
Right on.
He did a really good job. He really did.
Is that what you wanted to say?
No, so he had mentioned halfway through that, he gave us his predictions for what this season's going to be. And I don't know if we'll talk about more about that in episode 10, but he did say that he was, what did he say, 12-5 wild card. And I at the point where I kind of really agree, because the AFC West is going to be a tough division this year, with Wilson going to Denver, Herbert, and I would say San Diego, but LA.
Yeah.
And
we all say
like,
it.
We are going to have such a tough division this year, whether we go 1-1 against each team. But like, I feel like the Chargers have just been so good the last couple of years. Herbert is such a good quarterback, and I think he's right in the fact that we're going to have a challenge when it comes to anybody in the AFC. And I don't know what divisions we play in the NFC this year. I haven't really looked at the schedule a whole lot, but
it would not surprise me if 3 of the 4 in the AFC West go to the playoffs.
would
not surprise me. Would not surprise me one bit. But I'm going to quote it now. We will not go 1-1 against all the teams.
No, we won't go 1-1 against the Raiders. We'll take both.
I think the Raiders are the one that we won't.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers and the Broncos, we will definitely 1-1 against them.
Well,
it's going to be
I
1
don't
for
know
1.
about that.
And we're going to lose it.
I'm not. I think we'll go 1-1 against Chargers. I agree with that 100%.
We're going to lose to them at home.
Yeah.
We'll lose to them at home.
Denver, I'm not sold.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's first year, new team, new scheme. He doesn't scramble anymore. He's a pocket passer, 8 out of 10 times, whereas, 5-7 years ago, he would scramble.
He was a runner. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sold that he's the deciding factor on that team. He's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we'll go 1-1 against them. I think it's more San Diego.
Yeah. San Diego.
All right, gentlemen. All right. Before we get because
we're going on the next podcast already.
We're already moving on to the next podcast. We are going to discuss this because I have some of my own opinions when it comes to the AFC West. And I don't know that the professionals will agree with me, but I will save those predictions for next week's pod. Next week will be episode 10, and next week will be the Wives Club.
Hopefully.
So, you drag her ass down here and make that happen.
Yeah.
Because Sarah and Bobby will be on. Also next week, if you get a chance, next Wednesday, the rocker chick Bobby will be on the United States Paranormal, as we recorded that episode tonight. So she will be filling in as my special guest host since Alicia couldn't make this week. So get excited. It turned out really well. Hopefully you guys will like it. But yeah, so Bobby will be on with me next it would be tomorrow.
2 weeks.
It'll be tomorrow. This podcast is going to come out next Tuesday, that'll come out Wednesday. So
nice.
If you look at
podcasts are hard.
You're doing some Back to the Future and End of the Future shit.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So on tomorrow's episode of United States Paranormal, the rocker chick will be with me as we talk about Willow's Weep. So please enjoy.
Mom, listen, I'm glad we can convince you to come on to TUSOP, because I feel like not listening to that episode yet, you probably had a lot of fun doing it. So
She did. She had fun. She would.
Yeah.
She totally threw me under the bus in the opening, and
that's awesome.
continued throughout in certain spots to take cheap shots at me, and it was a beautiful thing.
I just wish she would open it up. Like, I wish you would have given her the opener. And she'd be like, "I'm Bobby, one-time podcast guest, and my husband is a whore for podcasts."
If you told her that before, she probably would have done it. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Indiana Chiefs fans. I know we kind of ran a little bit long. I don't even know what we're at right now, but
we didn't start till 8:40 your time, so it's not that bad.
All right, cool. Yeah, I want to thank Daryl for coming on and telling us some Kansas City history and his growing up as a Chiefs fan. That was, like I said, it was great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Also, I'm glad Chico could make it. I know he's out in PA right now, and you know he's working some long hours out there. So thanks for making it into the show.
Working long hours or drinking tall beers. I don't know which one I'm doing.
There's that. He's drinking lots of beers. Obviously, I'm sorry that your room smells like cat shit.
By the way, that's who called me was the wife, because I asked where the Febreze was.
Oh, nice. Yeah, damn cats. And feel free to check out all the other podcasts here on the Golden Mojo Entertainment Network, which includes our friends at the United States of Paranormal, where we talk everything cryptid, spooky, and paranormal, and we just have a good time doing it. Also, the Murdnerds, that's Alicia and Ashley, talk true crime all over the world. And if there was a murder and it's unsolved, they want to tell you all about it. One of my personal favorites, the Call Guys, they talk about everything pop culture related. So you can talk about movies or top. What else you guys talk about? Top.
Everything.
They talk
movies, TV shows, sports.
Don't they talk about dropping the homeless guy off?
Yeah, they always talk about picking out the homeless.
I do. Okay, so guys, I'm driving here to PA, and you got to drive that long trek through the plains of the state of Ohio.
Am I here?
Ohio. I'm driving along there, and I look at my counterpart who's driving with me, and I say, "Hey, we got to pull over. I got to pick somebody up." My boy has been sitting there in his box for the last 3 weeks, and he's ready to come on to the Indiana Chiefs Fans podcast. So let's go pick up that homeless guy from in front of the
Actually, we found him a home while you weren't on earlier. We did find the homeless Cleveland guy a home.
Yeah. It's at Colton's house.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
We know exactly where to take him and drop him off.
Can we just send Nagy there too? And
oh hell.
What would he do if we actually could get
a homeless guy
knock on Colton's front door?
That's the opening to a bad joke. Matt Nagy and a homeless guy walk up to Colton's door.
Oh man. I was waiting for you to say
I was waiting for a moment. To bring in the homeless guy. But I did. I passed the Cleveland sign, one of the Cleveland signs, one of the 5,000 Cleveland signs on the way to Pennsylvania. And I finally snapped a picture of one and sent it over, and it's like, about to go pick up my boy. So
yeah, listen to the Call Guys. They're released every Monday night, all the pop culture sports movies, and they cover it well. We like to have a good time with our boy Colton and giving him a hard time. So
yeah, a couple weeks from now we have a couple interviews coming up. We have some other stuff going on that's going to be super fun. So
Beer 30 is coming, boys and girls.
Beer 30.
And also, last but not least, you can check out Golden Image Podcast, where it's me, Chico, and the Skywalker. We like to go out, have adventures, so that you can go out and have adventures. Of course, all of us, Indiana Chiefs fans, Murdnerds, Two-Sop, Golden Image, and the Call Guys are all on Facebook. All you gotta do is just look them up.
So,
yeah.
Sorry, Jeremy.
Go ahead.
I forgot. Did we talk about the funeral arrangements?
Oh no, we did
I know.
not.
I was like, crap, we're closing the show out.
Yeah, go ahead.
bring it up.
Yeah, let's do a little announcement on Lynn Dawson's funeral arrangements.
Yeah, his funeral will be September
16th.
16th
Yep.
at 11 o'clock. It is open to the public, but it is the funeral only, I believe. So I do plan on going because I will be in Kansas City. I'll take pictures if, I can get anywhere close to anything or just to show the crowd. So I'll try to do my best to get video or pictures of that event. And the other interesting thing that you can do, I believe it was Thursday, September
1st.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, shit, it's gonna be too late for this podcast, but but they
Welcome to podcast world.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized that. I'm like, crap. Well, anyway, they're opening up Arrowhead, so they're setting up a special tribute for Len Dawson in there, and people can go in for free. I'm suspecting that will probably be there during the regular season. I'm hoping.
I would imagine it probably will be.
So, but yeah, for anybody listening who's a football fan, a Len Dawson fan, loves old school players, that's in the Kansas City metro area, Google it and I'll see you there. I'll do my best to get video or pictures.
Right on. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you there at the end.
No,
Jeremy.
you're fine. We
popped into
did
my head.
Yep, we talked about it. It's been a full blown episode of Indiana Chiefs fan tonight. So we've had a lot going on. We've got a lot to talk about. We are about to hit week number 1 with
That's right.
at Arizona, Kansas City at Arizona. So
Cardinals.
So my buddy should be going to the game. I asked him to get video and or pictures and send them our way.
nice. That'll be fun. You'll notice that I'll tell you about that later. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And so from our little slice of Chiefs Kingdom right here in the great state of Indiana, I only have one question. How about those Chiefs? Later.